Situated behind the altar of Winchester Cathedral, a towering 13-metre tall wall of statues, better known here as the Great Screen. These historic statues have been gathering dust since the 19th century, but not anymore, thanks to the work of the past few weeks.
Cathedral authorities thought this was a really good opportunity to give a dust down to the Great Screen. The first time actually it's been dusted down, as far as we know, since 1899, when the final statuary went in. To understand the history of the Great Screen and what we've been doing, you really have to go back to the 19th century. Now, the Great Screen is a 15th century object, and it had wonderful statuary in it, all of which was smashed up probably during the reign of Edward VI, the king that came after Henry VIII. At that time, churchmen, there was a reaction against statuary in churches, and so the statues disappeared. And then at the end of the 19th century, a campaign was launched to repopulate, as we say, to put the statues back in the Great Screen as a memorial to one of the best-loved archdeacons of the time, a chap called Archdeacon Jacob.
Each statue has its own story to tell and its own religious significance. But given the size of a Great Screen and the huge undertaking of such a task, experts believe that these statues haven't been dusted for around 120 years.
And eventually, in 1899, the statue in the middle, the Christ crucified figure, was put up. Now, my guess is that when the figure of Christ crucified went up, this was the last time that scaffolding was ever erected so close to the screen that you could get to it. So there's a huge build-up of dust, and the Conservators have been working from top, they're 13 metres above the ground floor at that level, down to the bottom, and they're nearly finishing their task now.
This is the last piece of scaffolding within this area of the cathedral. A few weeks ago, things were looking rather more congested. This project wasn't scheduled to be finished now, but 2 or 3 weeks further down the line.
Well, I think we have to pay tribute to a number of people here, not least the scaffolders, who put an amazing framework of scaffolding within this area, filling it up completely, and took it back much faster than we imagined. They're really good at their job. And secondly, I suppose the skill of the Conservators, who again, working simply with hand tools, with hand brushes and a pretty low-powered vacuum cleaner, are dusting away and removing all the dust of 118 years.
The people associated with the cathedral are hoping that the work carried out here will enable visitors to view these works of art maintained to the best possible condition for decades to come.
I think it's mostly important from a visual point of view. The cathedral's dry and relatively warm, and the dust I don't think is doing necessarily much harm, but what it does is obscure the fantastic detail.
Only one worker was required for a final bit of dusting, and it's predicted that cleaning work will be fully completed by Friday. Tom St John, Bats TV.